So there's a little T in our life which slowly creeps in and settles in our mind, body, and soul without us not even realizing it and knowing it. If it was doing good for us, well, most welcome. But if it takes us away from who we are and stops us from living our full potential, we need to talk to the little T in our life and do the needful. Welcome to Rise Within. Hi, Tanveer.
Hi, Abby. And yes, with the little T, we are talking about the big trauma, the big word
Yes.
trauma, right? Yeah, trauma seems to be so big that most of the time we are avoiding it or just say, oh, it is just like, if you met with an accident or it's a war kind of a situation. Nothing that has happened to me, so I don't have any trauma. Like that's how people get into denial that, it has to be something really big. However, let's understand what trauma is. Trauma is anything that has happened, any experience, okay, which overwhelms you beyond your own capacity to cope. And for each one of us, trauma will be different. All right. The same incident may be traumatic for me and may not be traumatic for you because my ability to cope with that experience will be different from your ability to cope with that experience, right? So it's
Absolutely.
all depend. Yeah. So we may be going through the same experiences, but one may have a trauma and one may not have a trauma kind of thing. So it's very important to understand uh, what this trauma is and what are the different types of trauma. And yes, we all have gone through traumatic experiences in our lives. I don't think there is any single human being which has not experienced trauma.
Right.
So what happens is, and why should we look at trauma, right, Abby?
Yes.
I mean, what is the reason? Okay, it is an experience, it has happened, then why are we looking into it? Why is it such a big word?
I just feel that trauma is like this big block of stone which ties us up with thick chains and pulls us back from moving forward. So even though good things are happening or about to happen or coming through, there are such that small little thing that you said, and you defined it so well, is keeping us or holding us back from living our best life, holding us back to be the best version of ourselves. And sometimes it comes from a place that we don't even know it exists. It would have been far seeded, even probably it might be generational. And we didn't even realize that we do what we do is because we faced what we faced,
Yes,
right?
very true. Very, very beautifully said, Abby. And yes, and that's why it is so important to understand what trauma is so that we can recognize if that is there within us and change that so that we can move forward with more ease. So if you have to look at a trauma could be a single event, like an accident or a loss of some sudden loss of some person, loved one, and that can be traumatic for people,
Absolutely.
right? And that's like a single event trauma, and it stays in our body. The most important part about trauma is that, we have our past experiences and they're gone, and our brain actually saves it as a past experience. But trauma is one experience which lingers at certain fragments in our body. It stays in our body, in ourselves, the memory of it. And it keeps coming back. It is there with us all the time. And that's why it's important to release that so that we can move forward. There are also experiences like, okay, this accident or this loss of person or whatever, it's just one time event. Many people may have not experienced it yet, right? But there are also those experiences where from childhood, probably you've been neglected continuously, or have been abused or bullied, or there has been experiences of domestic violence, which is a continuous process. That's like
Yeah.
really chronic trauma, which is constantly happening on a continuous basis. Yeah, so that also is trauma. If constantly since childhood there has been feeling a lack of love or lack of attention on a constant basis, that can be stored as trauma from our childhood. Yeah, and then there are this complex kind of trauma where you have multiple different experiences of trauma, right? From loss of a person or an accident or falling off, and those foods and all of that, plus all of this. So it's a very complex thing, and our body is storing all of these memories as
Yeah.
well. And how and why does the body store this? Because it is our brain and psychological way, it's an system to protect ourselves. So we hold on to these this
Yeah.
so that and that shapes our behaviors, like you
Yeah.
rightly said, it holds back. Sometimes it shapes our decisions, how we behave. Some people may just get closed in, or some people may be over pleasing just to feel safe,
Yeah.
because your body
Absolutely. Yeah.
the body holds on to trauma as a protect as a protection mechanism.
Yeah.
It has its own mechanism, which is called as a flight, fight and freeze mode.
Yeah.
All right.
Fight,
So, say
flight,
if any
freeze.
traumatic,
Yeah. The three F's.
yeah. So
Absolutely. Yeah.
if there is anything, so either we go in fighting mode,
Yeah.
or we run away from it, the flight, or freeze, like we just freeze, like you can't do anything out of
Yeah.
it. And this
Paralyzed.
energy and
Yeah.
this is what blocks us. So, and sometimes this is important. A body has this system because it's a survival mechanism for it. Like,
Yeah.
probably in the old ancient times, probably being attacked by a lion in the jungle, or where there has been battles and wars and all of kind of things. So we had to be in that fight mode or a flight mode to keep ourselves safe. So it's an amazing system that we have. However, what trauma does is it keeps this system on all the time. It deregulates the system, because say as an event happens, your system gets on, all
Yeah.
right,
The
but once the
trigger,
event is
right?
over,
Yeah.
yeah, but this once the it has to come back down, right?
Yeah.
But what trauma does is it keeps it on all the time. With
Absolutely.
that, it affects your digestive system, it affects your hormonal system, it affects your breathing, your heart, and all of this. And you obviously feel over exhausted because the system is on all the time.
Yeah. You're not
So yes,
living
that's
a normal life without just being yourself. Uh,
yeah,
One small example, like you said,
yeah,
the fight, flight, or freeze mode, right?
yeah,
Um, I have seen or experienced one part where, you I have got into levels of procrastination where I feel that there is it is not good enough, or this is not what is perfect. But there is
mm,
nothing called perfect, right? So
mm,
this
mm,
particular is an immediate response to the freeze mode, where you
yeah,
have lived in a conditioning of continuous judgment. You're being judged on
yes,
every single mode of that whatever you do. It is not
yeah,
laziness. Procrastination sometimes not laziness. It is just that freeze mode where you feel that no, 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 no. This is not my domain. I don't think this is good. I don't think this will.
yeah,
So we are basically judging ourselves much before anybody else can judge. So what are we doing?
yeah,
It is uh, definitely a live example of self-harm, right?
yeah,
Overthinking,
mm, yeah,
overthinking things, right? Before even to
yeah,
take that first step, we're so apprehensive to take that first step. to go
Yeah.
out and do. Why? The fear of judgment. We have been
Yeah.
told that you will not step out of the house without permission. There you go. We're grown up. We're still
Yeah.
waiting for permission, right?
Yeah.
So these
Yeah.
are traumas that we didn't even know that it affected. Having
True.
having conversations. So the conditioning, the childhood conditioning, that respect your adults. You
Hmm.
cannot talk back to your elders, right?
Yeah.
What
Hmm.
happens? We tend to take abuse in a workspace in the same way because
Yeah.
we think it is absolutely out of the rule book to challenge conflict.
Yeah. True. And you gave a very right example of, the freeze mode, like we procrastinate. And like, maybe every childhood, as you said, like, you've been constantly being said that you cannot do this, you cannot, and then you take in abuse all the time, whether it's like in your home life, family life, whatever. And that becomes a freeze mode. You just don't move, you don't speak, you don't do that.
Yeah,
Another example, and this is my life example, where I did experience like trauma in terms of loss of a loved one, and that put me in a fight mode. And because that
yeah,
the element of feeling unsafe was so strong that I had to, and feeling attacked so strong that I constantly went on like fighting, 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 not only for myself, that I would be fighting for everyone else, right?
everyone. Yeah,
So your my system was on constant fight mode. Like instead of having more of a balanced approach to any situation, it was fighting those situations,
yeah.
right? And that is exhausting. That puts your all hormones, your all your systems, everything in imbalance, right? And that's how these traumas affect us in terms of our behaviors, our decisions, our choice as such. Another example is, a flight mode is like you always tend to run away from safe. People have been a flight is like you run away from your responsibilities, for example,
Absolutely. Yeah,
right? You do not want to look at your emotions. People stop feeling emotions, they just shut down, and they're just flying, and they're just running away from their emotions. And these emotions, it's a part of us. It's very important to feel them, process them, all right? So it's, and all these energies get stuck and form a block in our systems.
we lock them in, and
Yeah.
till most of the times, Tanvi, it doesn't come out of self actualization or realization till somebody has that level of awareness.
Yes.
Most of the time, like you said, a dire situation puts us into that realization because
Yeah.
something that makes us go into an uncomfortable position
Yeah.
makes us realize that this is not right. This
Yeah.
is not what I signed up for. Uh, I
Yeah.
don't think this is the way things should be operating. Till then, we're all in our comfort zone,
Yeah.
trying to brush the dust under the carpet, living
Yeah.
the life we feel is perfect. Till
Yeah.
something happens, something comes along and derails us from our regular being.
Yeah.
And then
True.
we realize that I have been hiding this somewhere all along. It's
Yeah.
just that I have not known it.
Yeah.
And
So it's
what,
important to
yeah,
see. Yeah. Yeah. So, like, we don't need to go through that situation to understand that what trauma is, right? Or whether we hold any trauma or face to it. So there are a lot of symptoms, like, you can recognize if you're just being a little aware of what is going on with me, and then you can relate it. okay, probably there is some trauma and then I need to do something about it. So one thing is first facing it, right?
Yeah.
To say, it does manifest into a lot of physical ways. Right? Say if you start having nightmare or if there are certain phobias. Like I had a terrible phobia of dogs. Like I would look at a dog and I would scream. All right.
Yeah.
And you know
I,
that because
I
you are how I
remember.
was, right?
Yeah.
So I then realized, and I think that's another very important point, is that trauma doesn't have to be your own. Like you said, it can be generational,
Right.
or it can be sometimes, you hear certain stories. It may not be your own experience, but when you hear certain stories, that can be just listening to those stories can be traumatic.
Yeah.
And you may take it in as trauma because it may just be too difficult for you to accept it and cope with it, kind of thing. So it doesn't have to be like your own experience. It could be someone else's experience and you're listening and you take that within you, like, you absorb that energy. That also can be feeling traumatic.
Yeah.
Many times you feel really very distressful. Like today's stories, how many people, like, there's this Gaza stories and all of that, or the floods and all
Yeah.
of, and just looking at all of that may feel very traumatic for a lot of people. Like, some people may not be able to cope with that. So yes, I mean, when I recognize like this whole response of phobia or this, I worked on it and today I'm comfortable being around dogs rather than this. So it's important to not have,
Yeah.
you see,
Please tell
yes,
the
the first
story.
experience was with you,
Please
and
tell the
today I
story
feel,
how Sasha changed your life.
but she was a very good dog. She would listen, right?
So just to give a backstory, Sasha is my Labrador, and Tanvir had basically told me that I'm never going to come to your house because you have a dog at your house. So I had told Tanvir that the only dog that could take the fear away from from you is her. And true, that's how exactly how it happened. The moment Sasha walked into Tanu's life, Tanu could live with her presence, right, Tanvir?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so these are the ways you can recognize your trauma.
Yeah,
Sometimes it comes as nightmares, or sometimes, if you just feel certain things in your body, like in certain situations, your body may contract or you may feel very uneasy. Recognize that there is something which your body is telling you. And, why is it happening, especially in certain situations?
yeah.
So, and plus, if there's like emotional symptoms or mental symptoms where you just don't, you're too closed, you are not confident, or you're not opening up, or you don't speak you out your truth, or you feel too scared to talk, then there is some trauma which is stored into your body, which is not allowing you to speak and be who you truly are.
In
Right?
fact,
So, and
Tanvir,
some people you may feel like completely closed off. They don't
yeah,
talk, they are in their own world.
yeah,
One could be a choice, but one definitely there is something which is there, which is not allowing
yeah.
them to open up.
In fact, Tanvir, there is another very dark side that probably I have seen. Um,
Mm,
People will, we all say that, oh, it's just an excuse and all that. But I have seen the use of substance
yeah.
uh, to heal. That's more of a flight mode, right? The
Flight
use
mode.
of substance
Yeah.
to forget the trauma, the use
Yeah.
of blatant use of you can say drugs, alcohol, whatever it is, anything, any
Yeah.
addiction,
And social
It-
media also today, right? Today,
yes,
social media,
even
Netflix, all of that becomes an
relationships,
addiction.
some toxic relationships, uh,
Yeah.
just for the heck of the feeling that I am safe, that
Yeah.
simple feeling of safety, right? But
Yeah.
that is not, that is really not the answer.
True.
And I
True.
have seen that around me so much, where people
Yeah.
are not ready to address those difficult questions.
Yeah.
And I feel that over a period of time, it takes a toll on everyone, It takes a
It
toll on
does.
everybody,
Yes,
not only themselves, but ourselves, I mean, ourselves, themselves, and the immediate family, loved ones in due course of time.
of course.
Uh, it
Yeah,
really takes a toll. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Like for example, in the fight mode, all right, say for like a person can get extremely aggressive, and then it can lead to relation aggression in relationships. It
Yes.
can, like, domestic violence and all of, and like, you're constantly fighting. You actually push away all your loved ones and everyone around you. So all of this can be an like, the negative impact if you do not look at trauma.
Yeah.
The way first step is face it, that yes, like, there is, recognize it, all right, and then the next step is to, okay, how can I heal it?
Yeah.
So that but first it's so important to recognize it. People are not today aware as
Yeah.
to, and they're just like, it's like constant run of the mill. People are running in their rat race. It seems trauma seems to be normal. It's like it's become a normal thing. Yeah, everyone goes through loss. Yeah, everyone goes through this. Yeah, yes, everyone does. But
But it
you don't have
affects
to live with
differently.
it.
Yeah.
You don't have to live with
Live
it,
it.
right? Just
Absolutely.
because other people are living with it, you don't have to live with it. You can change your life by addressing it. And it is
Absolutely.
not difficult. It may seem, yes, people don't want to address it again because it's a painful experience at the end of
Yeah.
the day,
To
right?
relive it,
It
right?
is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is, however, but facing it for once and for all can change your life completely.
Great session as usual. The podcast was absolutely lovely, seamless, Tanveer. Thank you so much for the deep insights. And I think it was a very heavy subject, but much needed to be addressed. So
Yeah.
join us again next week on something that we need to address further with the little T.
Yes. See you again next week. Goodbye for
Goodbye.
now.
Bye.